affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this case is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you very much. If you'll please be seated. Mr. Waits, correct? Okay.
Mr. Waits, thank you for being here. Where do you live?
I live in Gwinnett County.
And do you remember July 10th, 2022?
I do.
What happened on that day?
There was a shooting at the QT in Peachtree Corners.
Now, where were you? How far away were you from that shooting?
Probably 200 yards. I was across the street at the Lidl parking lot.
And can you describe what you saw?
Sure. So as I witnessed the scene, I was across the street, across Peachtree Parkway. I saw what drew my attention, the verbal altercation that I heard between the defendants and Mr. Coleman. I saw a scuffle of two individuals outside Mr. Coleman's car. I saw a shooting take place and Mr. Coleman fall in the parking lot. And then I saw the black vehicle depart the QT parking lot and move south on Peachtree Parkway.
Do you know what the make of vehicle was that departed?
It was a Mercedes.
Now, if you had said Cadillac, would you be mistaken?
I would, yeah. You know, I was at a distance at the time, and I know on my call to 911, I reported as a Cadillac. It was a sedan that was black from a distance that looks pretty similar, but I think other evidence would show that it was definitely a Mercedes.
Your Honor, I'm going to object that he's not testifying on his personal knowledge and stuff that he's read about the case.
Okay, Mr. Williams, legal response to Ms. Drake's objection.
I will rephrase the question.
Okay, wait a minute. I'm going to sustain the objection, and I'm going to...
I would ask you to strike his response.
Okay, I'm going to strike Mr. Waits' response.
Mr. Waits, what helps you determine it was a Mercedes or another vehicle?
So my initial observation, I saw the vehicle as a black sedan that looked up a make or model of a Mercedes or a Cadillac.
Did you do anything with your phone, take a picture or anything?
Yes, I took a picture of the scene.
Did that help you in any way?
Yeah, it froze the scene in time for me where I could see both vehicles involved.
Your Honor, my approach was marked Friday as State's Exhibit 4.
It's previously marked as the State's Exhibit 4. You want to approach the witness? Is that... Yes, certainly. Feel free to move around the courtroom however you need.
I'm showing you the State's Exhibit 4.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us what that is, if you recognize that?
Yes, that's the picture I took on my cell phone.
And is that of the QT you're describing to us today?
Correct, from my point of view, and you can see the defendant's vehicle in the center there by the tree and Mr. Coleman's vehicle.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to you referring to that as the defendant's vehicle. He did not identify anybody. But for him to say it's the defendant's vehicle, he's been told that by somebody.
All right. Legal response, Mr. Williams, to that objection.
It was you struck him.
Okay. I'm going to strike Mr. Waits' testimony. I'm instructing this jury not to consider either one of the statements I have struck of his testimony. You cannot consider those in your deliberation. Either the later evidence would prove it's a Mercedes, nor the defendant's vehicle. That has been struck, and you cannot consider it in any deliberation against any of these defendants. So both of those statements have been struck from the record.
Your Honor, I tender States 4 into evidence.
Do you have an objection?
Yes,
That's sustained.
Mr. Waits, State's Exhibit 4 Can you tell us what that is?
Yes, this is a photograph I took on July 10th, 2022 on my cell phone.
And the incident you're here talking about, was it around the time when you took that photo?
Yes.
Has it been altered or tampered with in any way from when you took the photo?
No.
Truly accurately represents what you saw on that.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I intend to state Exhibit 4 into evidence.
State's Exhibit 4 is admitted without objection.
Your Honor, I published 4.
Certainly, Ms. Williams.
So, Mr. Waits, and then a larger screen to your left. So you're
And
not...
there's a monitor. Mr. Waits, there's a monitor right here that if you can see it better, whichever's more comfortable.
Yes, sir.
So you're not even in the QT itself, is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
But did it? What drew your attention to what was going on over there?
The verbal altercation in the parking lot that I heard, people shouting at each other, right under that tree, as you can see in the middle of the photo there. Pretty uncommon for Peachtree Corners. You don't hear people shouting at each other very often. So I was just loading groceries in my car, and I heard the shouts initially, was what drew my attention.
And the vehicle that you've described that went away, can you get up and point to that vehicle?
Sure. Yeah, that's this black vehicle right here.
Thank you. And did you call 911?
I did, yes.
And if you listened to that 911 call?
I have, yes.
Your Honor, at this time, State publish what's already in evidence as State's Exhibit 5. It's a 3-minute 911.
Okay. Hold on just a moment. Do you want an audio charge? I know there was Mr. Lewis. Okay. Okay, before you play that, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you're about to listen to an audio. There may be parts of the audio that I have directed to remove for presentation, as they are not to unnecessarily extend the duration of this trial. Removed portions may include periods of dead time or matters bearing no relations to the case before you, or for specific legal reasons that are not proper for your consideration. You're not to draw any inference or for or against either party based on the removal of portions of this audio, if there are any, by this court. As you listen to the audio, you may hear officers, 911 operators who work for law enforcement make certain statements to this witness. I caution you that the declarations or statements of any law enforcement or anyone on this call are not evidence, and you should not consider such statements as evidence unless such statements are proven to you by other competent evidence. All right, go ahead, Mr. Williams.
Gwinnett County 911, what's the location of your emergency?
The quick trip on Peachtree Industrial. Did you already get the call about the shooting?
What is the address?
I don't know the exact address.
Okay, I'm asking because there are many quick trips in that area, and you're saying Peachtree Industrial. We weren't told Peachtree Industrial.
Okay.
Is it
right
Peachtree Parkway near the Forum?
Yeah, exactly, that one.
Okay.
Right across from the legal.
Did you witness it?
I did, yeah.
Okay, and where's the person that shot at someone?
They took off in a black car and went south on Peachtree Industrial.
Do you know what kind of car?
It was a black Cadillac, but I was too far away. I'm across the street, but I saw it was like a black Cadillac sedan.
Okay, and they went southbound on Peachtree Parkway?
Correct.
Okay, and did you see the person that did it, what they looked like?
It was a black male. That was the only thing I could tell from it.
About how old? Do you know?
Early 20s, probably. Not very old.
Okay, and you didn't get a tag?
No, I was too far away. I tried.
Okay,
It was
and
just one shot fired, and it looked like he hit the guy who's laying on the ground right there. The
Your name?
attendant from, my name's Owen.
Owen, what's your last name?
Waits, W-A-I-T-S,
Okay, and your phone number, Owen?
513-490-0002.
Okay, we've got officers and paramedics on their way. They're going to be out there soon, okay?
Yep.
Did you see anything? We have your contact information. Did you see anything happen before the shooting? Like, could you hear arguing?
Yeah, so what got my attention was voices. I'm probably 200 yards away across the street, and I heard shouting across the street at the gas station, which is abnormal. And there was two individuals, the one that was in the car now that's laying on the ground, and then another black car, the one that drove away, had pulled up. They were shouting back and forth, like I think they were trying to steal this person's car or something. And the guy pulled up in the one black car, and then he ran over to the driver's side door of the car that's parked in the gas station. They argued. He opened the door. The guy got out of the car, and then that's when he shot him. And then the guy that had pulled up jumped into the black car and drove away.
Okay,
I don't know if
so
there's more than one individual in the black car that drove away or not. I didn't see if he actually got in the driver's seat or the passenger seat, but...
okay. Well, we are on our way. We'll be out there soon, okay? And they may call you to get if they have additional questions. So just be
Okay.
sure to answer your phone if it should ring, okay?
Yeah, we'll do. I'll hear the
Thank
sirens
you.
now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And the ambulance is here. Thanks.
Mr. Waits, is that the call that you made?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. The other attorneys may have some questions for you.
Lewis?
Afternoon.
Prior hearing, is that fair to say?
Yes.
Fantastic. I don't know if you recall that, but if I ask you a question you don't understand, you just let me know, and I'll try to rephrase it so that we're all on the same page. Okay?
Yes, sir.
If I understood your testimony, it was the verbal altercation that first drew your attention towards the parking lot at QT. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
And at the time when you looked towards the QT, you were in the parking lot of a store across the street. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
I got you. You hear some arguing, then you hear a shot, then you see the person that shot jump into a vehicle. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You snap a picture, and I'm assuming you snapped the picture before you call 911. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. In terms of estimating the time, and a range is fine. The time between the time you snap the picture and you call 911, is that less than a minute?
Yes.
Okay, good. On the 911 call, you called the vehicle a Cadillac. Is that right?
Yes.
As best you could tell, that's what you thought it was. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Now, when you're on the phone with the 911 operator and you're telling her that you think it's a Cadillac, is that because of what you remember as the car's exiting, or is that because of what you're examining in your phone?
I would say both. Both from my visual recollection and the photo.
Fantastic. Now, I'm assuming that after you took the photo, you would try to expand or enlarge the photo to be able to try to tell what type of car is in the photo. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. Did you do that before you were on the 911 call, as you were on the 911 call, or afterwards?
Right before.
Okay. Give the 911 operator the best description that you can. And what is the time approximately between the time you call 911 and the police arrive?
Approximately 3 minutes.
3 minutes. In that 3 minutes, are you continuing to try to manipulate the photo that you've taken of the vehicle to try to see if you can determine anything additional from the photo?
After I hung up with 911, yes.
Fair enough. Are you trying to see if there's any tag that you can see in the vehicle or get a better description of the vehicle?
Correct, yes.
From your vantage point, when you took the photo, were you able to see how many individuals were in the vehicle?
No.
I got you. So there's about 3 minutes, and you're trying to manipulate the photo to try to give a better description. Are you making your way towards the QT at the same time that you're doing that?
Not at the same time. It was
Okay.
a few minutes afterwards. So after the police and the ambulance arrived, I drove over to the QT.
Okay,
to speak with
good.
the officers.
Is it only after the police and ambulance arrived that you then cross the street in your vehicle?
Correct.
All right. At that point in time, you get some officer's attention to indicate that you've got some information. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
At the point where you make the statement to the police, are you able to tell a make and model at that time?
No.
Okay.
No, not immediately, no.
So as you're talking to the police officer, do you still have sort of Cadillac in your mind?
Yes.
Okay, and even though you're manipulating the photo, try to get a better look. As best you can tell, when you first talked to the police officers that arrived, it was a Cadillac. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
You wrote a statement ultimately to, you wrote a statement actually made a statement too. Is that right? You wrote a written statement?
Yes, sir.
As you take a look at D1.
Sure.
Is that the statement that you made?
Yes, sir.
Totally accurate. It's a photocopy of the statement that you made. Is that right?
Correct.
That's in your handwriting?
Yes.
Okay, good. And this photo, this written statement was written how long after you spoke to the officer, the first officer that you spoke to?
Within the hour, I would say.
Within the hour.
Yeah, it says 12:58 p.m. So,
What time did you first recall calling 911? Do you recall that?
I don't know exactly what time it'll be on the tape.
Okay, it somewhere between a half an hour to an hour after you called 911, you wrote the statement. Is that fair to say?
That's fair.
Fantastic. In the statement, you described the vehicle that's pulling out of the QT as a black sedan. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
You didn't call it a Cadillac, and you didn't call it a Mercedes. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
This morning, you indicated that the vehicle may have been a Mercedes. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Is that from information that you received from a press release?
Publicly available information, yes.
I got you. And that's the same way when you testified to the jury, you called Mr. Coleman's name.
Correct.
That you didn't know Mr. Coleman at the time. Is that fair to say?
That's fair.
No relationship to him. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
You as a result of speaking to the police or later press releases, you learned that the person who was shot, that his name was Mr. Coleman. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
I got you. I believe that your testimony was that you only took one photo. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
All right. Those are all the questions that I have. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Clegg, do you have any questions for Mr. Waits?
Wait, my name is Tom Flagg. I just have a few questions. If you need me to repeat a question, please feel free to ask me. I have hearing aids in, so lean into the microphone and don't be afraid to project a little bit, okay?
Yes, sir.
Accommodate me, okay? If I'm understanding correct, how long had you been out? Were you in the process of putting your groceries in your car when you heard the initial verbal altercation?
5 minutes. How long was I in the parking lot?
Yeah.
Probably less than 5 minutes.
Were you in the process of still putting the groceries in the car?
Yes.
When you heard, so you were outside of your car?
Correct. At the tailgate,
You
yes.
had not gotten into your car to drive away, correct?
No, sir.
And the first thing that directed your attention across the street was the verbal altercation, correct?
Yes, sir.
When you looked across the street, you were able to see two individuals, correct?
Yes, sir.
Both of those individuals were outside of their car, right?
Yes.
Both of those individuals were standing up, correct?
Yes.
And both of those individuals were in close proximity to one another, correct?
Yes.
Can you estimate, for the benefit of these fine folks here on the jury, how far the two individuals who were engaging in the verbal altercation would have been from one another?
2 feet or less.
2 feet or less? Could you tell from your vantage point whether both of them were arguing?
Yes, they're arguing with each other.
And both of them were raising their voice, is that correct?
Yes.
And if you could speak up just a bit.
Sure.
And were you able to hear anything, specifically anything they had to say?
Nothing specifically, no.
When you first directed your attention to the individuals, did you see either one of them in possession of any sort of firearm?
No.
How long did the argument go on for before it escalated?
Less than a minute. Less than 1 minute.
Okay. Now, there had been apparently, well, let me ask this, did you hear anything that would have been consistent with one vehicle striking another vehicle in the parking lot?
No.
Did you see one vehicle strike another vehicle in the parking lot?
No.
Did you ever hear anyone from across the street yell out, "He's got a gun"?
No.
You never heard anything of that sort whatsoever?
No, sir.
In the parking lot, you can, from your vantage point, you can see, I guess if you're standing on Peachtree Parkway, you're looking at the QT, the incident would have happened on the left side of the parking lot, correct?
Yes, as you look at the QT.
In the left side of that parking lot, did you see any other people other than the two people engaging in the argument?
Exhibit 4 shows you what I saw. There are other vehicles in the photos, so. But of the 2 individuals, those are the only 2 people I saw.
People outside of their car, you did not see anyone else, correct?
Correct.
Did you see a woman looking over an SUV?
No.
Did you see a woman crouching down behind an SUV?
No.
Did you see a second individual approach the 2 people who were arguing with one another?
No.
Did you see anyone actually get out of the black sedan as you described it in your original statement to the police, correct?
Yes.
You actually did see someone get out?
No, I'm saying I'm confirming the black sedan, yes. But no, I did not see someone get out. He was already out of the vehicle when my attention was drawn.
Yes or no? Did you see somebody get out of the black sedan?
No. No.
Did you see a gun produced at some point during the course of the argument?
Yes.
And which individual produced the gun? The shooter, obviously, right?
Yes. The shooter on the left side from my point of view.
How far would the shooter have been from the individual who was shot at the time that the gun was produced?
Less than 3 feet.
Less than 2 feet?
Less than 3 feet, probably.
And at that point again, you heard nothing whatsoever about he's got a gun, correct?
Correct.
And then you heard the shot, right?
Correct.
The victim went down almost instantaneously, correct?
Yes, sir.
This was well away from the Dodge Charger at the scene, right?
Right next to it.
Was the doors of the Dodge Charger open or not, if you recall?
The driver's door was open.
Did you know that at the time when this happened, or did you know it after you drove across the street to observe?
I could see it at the time.
All right. You obviously did not see the tag on the car, right?
No, sir.
Certainly had no idea whether it was a Georgia plate or a plate from another state, right?
No, sir.
If you can, and I don't know if you can or not, but did you see did you see a BMW?
I don't recall one.
You do not recall seeing a black BMW come into contact with the Dodge Charger, right?
No.
There was Let me ask you this. Were you able to see the driver of the black sedan which left the scene?
No.
Is it fair to say that you are not able to offer any sort of opinion as to how many people were in the car, the black sedan, when it left the scene?
That's fair.
You did see one person get into the black sedan after the shooting, correct?
Yes.
Where did that person get into the black sedan?
On the passenger side in the front.
The front passenger side?
Yes.
And that's the person who would have done the shooting, correct?
I believe so, yes.
You did not see any other individual. It must have been him, logically, correct?
Logic would say that, yes.
Did you see him with the gun when he got into the car?
No.
So you know that at least one of the people in the black sedan was a black male, correct?
Yes, sir.
Again, you don't know how many people altogether were in the black sedan, correct?
No.
You don't know the ethnicity or race of the driver of the sedan, correct?
Correct.
You don't know the sex of the driver, correct?
No, sir.
You don't know the approximate age of the driver, correct?
No, sir.
You cannot offer any evidence whatsoever concerning individual characteristics of the driver, correct?
Correct.
Fair enough, sir. If I'm understanding correctly, and let me know if I'm not, whatever you saw occurred outside of the vehicle, the Dodge Charger, I guess it is, right?
That's your words? Yes, outside the vehicle.
You never saw either one of the two people who were engaged in the altercation inside the vehicle, correct?
Correct.
You never saw one individual either following another out of the Charger or being pulled out of the Charger, correct?
Correct.
You did make the 911 call, right?
Yes, sir.
In the 911 call, I think it's been established, you referred to the black sedan as a Cadillac, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, you didn't say possibly a Cadillac, correct?
I don't believe so.
You specifically said Cadillac, correct?
Correct.
And you used the word Cadillac 2 different times, correct?
Yes.
This would have been before you would have actually written your written statement that I think you have in front of you, defense exhibit number 1, correct?
Yes, sir.
Defense exhibit number 1 was prepared by you at 12:58 in the afternoon, correct?
Correct.
And that would have been approximately 18 to 20 minutes after the shooting, correct?
Yes.
The police were on the scene relatively quickly, correct?
Yes.
You had already made the 911 call, correct?
Yes.
The events were fresh in your mind, correct?
Yes.
You went from initially describing the vehicle as being a Cadillac to simply describing it as a black sedan. Was there a reason why you did not identify the specific make of the vehicle at the time that you made your written statement?
Yeah, I had a doubt as to what the exact vehicle type was.
Honestly, you simply did not know, correct?
Correct.
And even though you had had a chance to observe the photograph of the vehicle prior to making that written statement, correct?
Correct.
So if I'm understanding correctly, when you wrote that statement describing the vehicle as a sedan, you had, 1, observed the shooting, correct?
Yes.
2, seen the black sedan leave the location,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
3, taking a picture of the black sedan, correct?
Yes.
4, in an opportunity to actually look at the photograph of the black sedan, correct?
Yes, sir.
Even after having done all of that, you were not comfortable writing on your written statement what kind of car it was, correct?
Correct.
Let me take a look and see my notes. Let me ask you this. The individual who got shot, prior to the shot being fired, did you ever see him on the ground?
No.
Were you able to offer any sort of opinion as to the relative height of the two individuals who were engaged in the verbal altercation?
I mean, no. I mean,
Okay.
roughly the same height, if you want to give me a
How tall are you, sir?
5'9".
5'9". Can you offer, and I understand you were about 250 yards away, 200, 250?
200, yeah, roughly.
Photograph pretty much shows the distance between you and the scene, correct?
Correct.
Oh, and if we can't do that, that's fine, but can you offer these folks on the jury any sort of opinion as to the height of either person engaged in the altercation compared to you? Were they shorter, taller, similar?
I don't want to offer speculation. I would say they're roughly my height.
And did they appear, the two individuals who were in the altercation appear to be approximately the same height?
Approximately, yeah.
Fair enough, sir. Okay. Just to make sure, there was one shot and one shot alone, right?
That's what I heard, yes.
And you never saw a second person approach with or without a handgun, right?
I did not.
Thank you very much, Mr. Waits. Appreciate you coming.
Thanks, sir.
Straight?
Hi, sir. How are you?
I'm good, ma'am. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just going to try to minimize my questions a little bit. I just want to clarify, and I know you've already said this, but I just want to make sure that I heard. You did not see anybody get out of the car when you looked. Both individuals were already out of the car.
Yes, ma'am.
And what originally drew your attention was that you heard loud voices.
Yes.
And isn't it true you also saw them physically struggling?
Yes.
And prior to the individual being shot, did you see either of them with a gun?
No.
Did you see where the gun came from?
The shooter produced it from somewhere in their general body area.
Did they produce it from their pants, from their back, or do you recall?
I don't recall exactly where.
And was that immediately prior to the shooting?
In my view, yes.
And how long do you think that the struggle went on between these two individuals?
Maybe 20 seconds. It was pretty quick.
Okay, it was 20 seconds?
Maybe, yeah, less than that. No more than 20 is what I would say.
If I can have just a moment, please, Your Honor.
Certainly.
So you said 20 seconds?
Of confrontation?
Yes.
Yes.
And that was before the gun was drawn?
Correct.
Do you remember testifying at another hearing back in October of 2023?
I was here, yes. I don't know if we can reference that or not.
Okay, but do you remember testifying in a hearing back in October of 2023?
I do.
Were you sworn in at that time?
I was.
Your Honor, may I approach, please?
Certainly.
I'm sorry, page 158 and 159.
What line? Starting at what line?
Lines 24 through line 1 on 159. Now, you said 20 seconds. Back in October of 2023, you said it was a minute to 2 minutes, correct?
That's what the record shows.
Okay. Did you say that?
I'm sure I did, yes.
In October of 2023 is certainly closer in time to 2022 than October of than January of 2025. That is fair.
Yes.
individual that pulled the gun was on your left.
Correct.
Stated?
Yes.
And I understand the individuals are roughly the same height. Would you describe them as average height?
Yes.
And would you describe yourself as average height?
Yes.
And you're approximately how tall?
5'9".
I believe that's all I have. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Williams? Review.
Mr. Waits, referring to the defense one, your written statement, you wrote that it was a black sedan that you saw, correct?
Yes, sir.
And did you just testify that that's because you had some doubts as to what the brand, model, make was?
Correct.
But you did state in that written statement it was a Challenger, the other vehicle. Is that correct?
It is written there, yes.
Were you more certain about that make and model?
Honestly, the Challenger and the Charger to me are pretty interchangeable vehicle models, so I might have seen it as a Challenger, but it could be a Charger.
It's safe to say it was a pretty emotional experience for you at the time?
Certainly, yes.
Your Honor, I'd like to publish State's 5 that's already in evidence to show to Mr. Waits.
You're going to play. Okay, that's not Exhibit 5.
Exhibit 3.
I'm going to publish Exhibit 3. Certainly. Okay. Well, hold on a second.
This may be premature, but if he's showing this to the witness in front of the jury to maybe refresh his recollection, I would object to that. If he's going to ask specific questions, then obviously I have no objection. But if it's to show him to refresh his recollection, I don't necessarily know that that's proper to do in front of the jury.
Absolutely. Okay, this is one of those times that I need to have a discussion about a piece of evidence and whether it is played, and so I'm going to ask you to go back to the jury room for a moment, or a few moments. And I'm assuming we want Mr. Waits to step off the stand and be outside? Yes, okay. Mr. Waits, and if you'll not talk, you can't speak to anybody, just if you'll just wait right outside, we'll be back, have you back in just a few minutes. Okay, I know I've heard from Ms. Drake, go ahead.
Your Honor, I just want to elaborate a little bit further. I wanted to object when we got too far, because if we got too far, then we have all sorts of issues. I mean, obviously, he, in his statement, wrote about it being a Challenger, and he said that they're interchangeable. Obviously, my question is going to be on recross. You wrote that statement while on the premises, the vehicle was still there. So I guess I'm not certain if he is trying to show the video to refresh the witness's recollection or to show the witness something that the witness does not independently recall, which I think would be improper. If he's asking for specific locations and stuff, obviously I'm not going to have an objection, but I wanted to stop a train that the court got over.
All right, Mr. Lewis, you had something?
I'm not quite sure what the goal is, but we've already felt that this witness is very comfortable testifying about after the fact information in a very fluid way. Mr. Coleman, the Mercedes, and these are all things that we've done after the fact. So I don't have a problem. I don't know why the prosecutor on the video, but I know that the witness, this particular witness, is comfortable
Mr. Clegg, anything? But you do care as to which portion is played?
Yeah.
That's the only, you're,
When they're outside of the car, they simply wait, we're outside of the car, they're outside of the car, okay, here we are, that's like right my attention. That's one thing that doesn't want to do, and he can see that portion of the thing. Anything that is transpired beforehand, no, I don't like to show it to you.
okay. Mr. Williams?
This is not to refresh recollection, it's to ask specific questions of Mr. Blades. Has not seen this video, but the video is in evidence already. So I would ask if
Okay,
we could ask
what,
specific
you
questions.
want to play the whole video?
No, you are just seconds from when the vehicles are side by side until Mr. Coleman's pulled out and the vehicle drives off. That's it.
Okay, would that be from the shouting?
That includes the
Oh, okay, so what's your response to Mr. Clegg's point, which is this witness has testified the shouting made him look? Why do you want anything before? What's the legal grounds for showing him something before, other than to just show the video again?
Well, redirect because of the vehicles. There will be a question about black sedan and Challenger Charger. We've got the two vehicles there, and if this could be what he's described and testified to.
Isn't that refreshing? You're trying to get him to refresh his recollection with this video to identify? I'm a little confused because
Well, we have black sedan, and if it could be, this could be included within what he wrote as black sedan, on what he was not sure about on the 911 audio as well, whether what we display, which will only be a couple seconds of the video, could be included in what he's written and then described on audio.
Okay, so you're going to ask him, is that the car you saw leave? Or do you now, after seeing this, recall it to Mercedes?
Could this be the vehicles? I'm not going to say if it's a Mercedes or not. no.
Okay, could this be the vehicle you saw at QT, and could this be the vehicle you saw leaving the QT?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Yep.
The investigation has to start with this witnesses where the
Yeah.
vehicles are side by side. The vehicles rolling out similar to where they would have been when the picture was taken.
Yeah.
That's where I think the issue is. Obviously, the evidence of the thing, yes,
Yeah.
but only as a human asking questions about, is that the car that you saw when they're right next to each other? I don't know if that's proper.
Okay.
We'll start from that portion we got it already queued up. It's on the screen.
Okay, so you wanna start from there?
I'm fine with it, just because I think that's where the discovery of the thing, if it's being young, it's obviously the sound, but if it's being young, I suspect that's where it would have been. That's where I think the stuff is.
And then it would be stopped after the Mercedes leaves QT.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Any further argument that portion, just limiting to that portion? Any objection or further argument from the defense?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I'm saying that I'm thinking on how, so I apologize. My thoughts are, I can't jump.
It's okay.
But if we're starting here, what on earth are we going to elicit from the witness? I guess that's what I'm
My understanding is the state wants to ask this witness, could that be the Charger that you described as Challenger? And could that be the car that you described as Cadillac?
But that would be speculation, then,
Yeah. Yeah. If it's asked that way,
especially if they show that vehicle leave. Of course, he's going to say, well, yeah, that's what I saw.
I think my objection, I think the state was seeking to comply with it, I will defer to the Frank's superior legal action and knowledge.
And obviously, this can't say, I think that's what we're saying. Obviously, it's that now on further review.
okay, I agree with Mr. Lewis on that. So we're going to play it, and the questions are going to be limited to, could this be the car you saw leaving the QT? Is that correct, Mr. Williams? And could this be the car that you wrote down in your statement was a Challenger? Any objection for those two questions going to this witness with this portion of the video?
Your Honor, I don't have an objection at this point. I would just like to reserve the right depending upon raising of the question and kind of what happens to still object under the
Certain. Certain. Okay. Oh, go ahead.
Your Honor, if I may, since the jury is already out, can we take a 30-second break since this may go for 2 minutes? The actual testimony before we bring the jury back to this and start out.
Okay, you want to take a
30-second comfort break.
Oh, a comfort break. I'm sorry. I didn't know if you needed to.
No.
Okay. 30 seconds?
Let's give me a little bit longer.
I mean, let's be realistic here. Well, you want to go ahead and take a comfort break. They're taking a comfort break. So we'll take if we can do 5-minute comfort break, that'd be great. I don't think 30 seconds is going to get anybody anywhere. Yes. You're killing me. Okay, if we could the DA's office get Mr. Waits? Thank you. Investigator Ray, thank you. Come on up here. Thank you. Yeah, please. Thank you so much. You're still under oath, but state ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, defense ready?
Yes.
Okay. All right, bring him in. Thanks. Go ahead. Mr. Williams, thank you.
Mr. Waits, I'm going to show you what's already in evidence as State's Exhibit 3. If you can take a look at the screen.
You can see the monitor right there.
Yes, ma'am.
And could these be the vehicles that you were describing?
Yes, sir.
So the black sedan, which one would that be?
The one on the left here is the one when I mentioned black sedan in my statement.
What about the Challenger?
That's this one behind here.
Could you step down and point on the big screen for the jury?
So, black sedan is what I identified as the Challenger in my statement.
And in addition, Mr. Waits, like we said, there was a lot going on. It was an emotional time.
Yes, sir.
And are you maybe not the best identifier of car brats?
I think that's fair.
The other lawyers may have some follow-up. Thank you.
Oh, certainly. If you put the photo back on.
Mr. Waits, it's my understanding, based on your testimony, that after the police arrived, you drove across the street to the QT. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
So it's fair to say at the point in time when you spoke to the police, that vehicle was still parked right there. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay, there had been a sheet covering Mr. Coleman. You later learned his name, I think Mr. Coleman. But the vehicle and Mr. Coleman's body was still there when you were talking to the police. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
I got it. So whether it's a Challenger, Charger, that vehicle never moved. Is that right?
Correct.
That's all that I have. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Clegg? Ms. Drake? Okay, state, may we release Mr. Waits?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and defense? Okay, Mr. Waits, thank you. Okay, that was not tendered. That's Mr. Waits' statement at the scene. Okay. D1 is admitted without objection. Mr. Waits, thank you very much for your testimony. You are released. You can stay in the courtroom or go back to your life. Thank you. All right, state call its next witness.
Thank you, also.